But first, we go back to the phones and the fun. Ladies first. Johnna is on the line listening in California on the Amp Lines. Hey, Johnna.
Hi there.
Hey, what's on your mind?
Well, I was calling about the school bond issues. I am from Northern California. I just recently finished my term on a school board, high school board. I probably lost my reelection because I was the only board member who did not support the bond measure that we put in front of our community.
So you didn't, but just to give our listeners a recap, if they're just tuning in, it was last hour that we talked about California school boards voting for these bonds that they don't have to pay any payments on until a while in the future, and then at that point they owe a significant amount of interest. There was one of them that was $100 million, and they now owe $1 billion on that loan. So
clearly irresponsible.
It's crazy stuff, and overall across the state, there's just billions and billions of dollars that are owed to these payments.
Yeah, let me ask you this, Johnna. So you were how did you not supporting the bond get you not reelected? Is it just that people were uninformed? Tell me about that.
Yes. Here's how it worked. We have a legal limit as to how much we can ask for. We were going for the max, which was going to be $9 million, a $9 million bond. We're a small school district, so for us it was $9 million. No one could ever give us a straight answer. Our administration, the guy who came to do the sales job on it, how much it was going to cost at the end. Because what you do is you decide, we want to put this in front of the voters. They say, yes, we want $9 million, because I was part of a school that's 50 years old. It is in horrible condition. I never argue that fact. It is needed lots of repairs, lots of refurbishing. And people, all they think of is the only way we can get the money is to tax everyone. Mm-hmm. That's the only source. And my thing was, but it's not going to be $9 million. You guys don't even know how much it's going to be. It's going to be probably $45 to $50 million that you're going to pay for that $9 million.
Who is it that ponies this money up, by the way? I don't know much about bonds. I called it a loan earlier, but I guess that's not entirely accurate. Is it a bank?
They sell these bonds to get your $9 million up front.
It's an investment.
And then we as the property owners are going to have an increase in our property taxes to, over the next 30 years, pay off that $9 million plus interest to those bonds, the people who bought the bonds.
I see.
So you have a company who's selling them.
Huh.
And so for us, the way they sold it to the community, and it doesn't sound that bad. It's like it's only going to be, the average homeowner's only going to pay $45 a year extra.
Yeah.
So people think in their head, okay, well,
it's
$4
for
or
the
$5
children.
A month.
I can handle that.
It's for the kids. My argument from the beginning...
And you are obviously against the kids, Johnna, because you voted against it.
Well, my argument from the beginning, and it was a great chance to throw out some good voluntarist-type principles to this community that's never heard of them. Mm-hmm. I said, here's the thing. We haven't tried anything else. We haven't asked a solitary person, not one business, not one person, hey, could you donate some money to help us with our building problem?
Yeah, and they're never going to do it. They're never going to ask.
Right. We didn't ask. I kept saying, we haven't asked one person. I said,
why ask when you can take?
I have more confidence in our community. I think the community knows the school needs help. Why can't we put confidence in our community that they'll step up to the plate?
How did someone like you ever get elected in the first place? Was it one of those things where they didn't even really know who you were and you just kind of got accidentally voted in?
Well, people knew who I was. I do the newspaper in town, and I'm pretty vocal, but they weren't. People agree, but they don't. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yes, no on taxes, but
right.
Then
until the taxes want to pay for something I want.
Exactly. So they know I'm pretty conservative, but I'm sure they didn't know how far, and how far I was into the non-aggression principle and not coercing people just because you like something. I was one of the more vocal people. I held the board accountable. People liked that.
Sure.
But ultimately, they didn't like it because they didn't like it that I didn't support this bond, of which 62% of the voters approved.
So it did go to voters.
Yes, it went to voters, 62% approved.
So in that case,
now,
Mark, then we were speculating earlier that it was the board members who voted for these things. In some cases, it looks like it was actual voters who came out. And of course, in that case, then they sort of are on the hook. It's just the rest of the voters that were against it. They're screwed too.
No. What happens is, as a board, we decide, the voters get to decide if because the voters said, yes, go for it. Then we as a board still had to vote to, quote, activate it and initiate the sales. We don't have to. You can have the voters say, yes, we want a bond, and the board could decide, because there's been a change in the board since I lost my position, the board who actually votes may say, we don't want to activate it.
Got it.
We don't want to initiate it, which the other board in my town, which is unheard of in California, there's only like 2 boards that have ever done that. But the other board in my town did do that. They said, we're not activating it. So one of the things I would tell people, do you understand there could be 2 bonds issued on you because the other board just hasn't activated theirs. They can do it at any time they want. They can do it 20 years from now, whenever, because we the people said, yeah, we want it. Man. But the reason why the other board didn't activate is because it was when the market was going down, the housing market. They weren't going to get as much money as they initially thought.
So they are holding out then. They're waiting.
Yeah.
Got it.
So, and then in our community, we're kind of one of the poorer counties in California, Yuba County. Several other people on different boards, the college board and another high school board, the news reported they probably lost their positions because they supported some poor bonds. And I thought, well, I lost because I did support. But the difference was those boards already issued them. So people could see, oh, wow, that's a lot of interest.
The consequences.
Shame on them for doing that to us.
Yeah.
For me,
so they want
been issued.
They want the free money, but they don't want to make the payments.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just standard human behavior.
It's like a teenager with their first credit card.
It's why people shouldn't have votes. Nobody should be able to vote on anybody else's spending because they don't. I mean, when it comes down to it, they have no skin in the game.
Yep, and I just kept pushing. I'm not against helping the school. I just think we should try some other methods before we go to forcing everyone to pay, whether they like it or not.
Wow, so you tried to apply voluntarist principles from the inside of a school board position and were ousted as a result.
Goodbye, lady.
Yeah. It's tough to be a liberty lover in California.
Fine with it. I'm proud.
I'm proud that you did it too. I'm just sorry that, I'm sorry you live in a town that would vote you out for this.
Yeah, that's California for you, though, right? It's got to be frustrating.
I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't.
Yeah, so it gives us more impetus to get to New Hampshire faster.
Oh, lovely. Are you coming here? That's fantastic.
Well, that's our plan. And I heard my husband the other day for the first time actually say, we better get ready to move to New Hampshire.
Right on. Get on it. We'll see you when you get here. And, Johnna, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. 855-450-FREE, the SACL CAI toll-free line. The more doers, the more people that actually are willing to get active for liberty that we can concentrate in the same place, the better off we'll be. More coming up. This is Free Talk Live.